We are looking at Lily's freestyle below the water from the side. Commentary by Coach Chris. We just looked at her above water, and if you haven't seen that video, start with that one, the above water side. But we're going to let this run full time. And a few of the things we're going to look at her pull, and we're going to look at her, of course, her turn and her streamline, and we're going to look at her extension phase of her freestyle and the pull phase. And in particular, we're going to kind of double check, the length, because from above water, it definitely looked like she was pulling the hands out early. Let's get to a frame where we get a real good look from the side. Here we go. So as you can see, her head position is really, really solid. We work on that. She's got that down and forward look. Let's just cycle back a few frames to this hand entering. Okay, so this hand's going to enter. And the timing of that pull is really, really good because as you see, she's got that 3/4 catch-up stroke. That is the modern freestyle. This left arm's out, and she's not going to pull till that right hand starts coming in. So she's finishing the breath, hand in, boom. There's a lot of power in that. So she's doing that really, really well. One thing I want to talk about. You watch her extend, and as that right hand extends, look at the direction the fingertips are going. The arm and fingertips are extending out, but they're extending out and up. You can see they're in the same plane of water as the head and shoulders are passing through. Okay, I'm not a big advocate of this. Okay, what I want to see, and she'll get to it, is I want to see that arm extend down. I want the fingertips slightly down. I want that arm to come into this position. So as she extends, once her hand hits the water, Lily needs to reach down and forward straight to that anchor point for her hand. Because right now you can see it's reaching forward, it's pushing the water that she wants to move through and stirring it up. And then you can also see her hand, the flow of water, because her fingertips are angled up, the flow of water is going to be pushing against it like that. So the water's flowing under her hand, and it's going to start pooling and spinning around right underneath that hand. And it's going to actually resist her pull, not assist it. Now, she pushes through all this water. And you see her hand, see how she's pushing down? The problem with this is, and we talk about it when we talk about our freestyle drills, when she stirs this water up that her head and shoulder is about to pass through, it makes it more difficult for that part of her body to move through. So she doesn't want to wait that long. She wants to reach down and forward. Now this is where her hand should be going right off the bat. Now she's in the freestyle position we want. Down and forward. She's extending, she's reaching, her hand's starting to recover. That's where her hand and arm should go immediately as they enter the water. They should go down and forward, and they should reach to this position as soon as possible, trying not to disturb the water that her head's about to pass through. And you can see right here why. I mean, here's her head and shoulders, and here's that water that we're passing through now. This is what we want to keep clear, because moving water is harder to actually move through. So try to eliminate this first part of the reach. Try not to extend out like this. Try to extend down and forward so we're not disturbing that water we're passing through. Once she gets set and pushes, again, timing of the pull is really, really good. Here we can see, if you connect the arm, here you can see her not finishing. She's lifting that elbow out. She's not finishing that arm underwater. What she wants to do is push all the way back till that arm's straight and push that water all the way back. This is also an age thing. I'm discussing it here, but one thing that we have to keep in mind is, physically it's hard because that's where all the power is, and it takes a lot of muscle in order to push that water. She needs to keep trying to push it. She's not going to get it in a day. The kick looks awesome underwater. Look at the width of the kick. This is a good freestyle kick. Real deep, real big magnitude. her kick is definitely one of her assets in this freestyle. You know, you can watch that left arm. See, this is the angle we want to be. Here's where we're starting when we enter. So that first extension is going forward too much. And then we're getting to where we want to be. This is where we want to be. Still, pretty solid. And you can see those upturned fingers here, that upturned hand. That's putting on the brakes right in the front of that stroke. Really nice high elbow catch. That's really good for mid-distance and distance free. It's really good for the 100 free to some degree. One thing you want to do though, if you get to doing a 50, you want to let that arm pull straighter out the front. You don't want to start bending the elbow and pulling back quite so much. It's a deeper, straighter arm pull underwater for that 50. So when we're going for that real top speed, that all out, we want to reach forward, and when we pull down with the front half of the pull with more of a straighter arm to get that deeper, stiller water. That's where the power is. Here she is. We talked about this above water, executing a breath. Perfect. I can see one eye underwater. That's as low as you can get, and that is just fantastic. Here's that turn. Now something you'll see more advanced swimmers do is see how she stays with her head and shoulders at the surface and then flips. A lot of, as she gets better and as she gets into the older age group, she's going to learn how to submerge into the turn a little more so that when she's pulling, her upper body isn't staying on top of the water. It's actually going to submerge and come down at the wall just a little bit. Really, really shallow angled. The flip is really well executed, really solid plant. She's coming off a little bit deep, but she has a really effective dolphin kick out. So one of the things I don't gripe about is in order to really use that dolphin kick out on freestyle, you got to get a little deeper. So if this was a regular freestyler, I would be griping about this angle coming off the wall. I'd want him a little shallower. But because she's so effective underwater, I'm going to go ahead and say this is probably optimal for Lily. Really great amplitude on that dolphin kick. Really tight streamline. You see this angle with the upper body? This is what I was talking about in the above water video. See how she's angling? One thing she's going to work on as she gets better is maintaining that horizontal plane as her body's rising up. So trying to rise up without angling the hands up at the surface like she's doing right now. That's a very, very advanced skill, and as she gets better at that, she's going to have a lot more speed in those breakouts. Very, very effective transition going to that flutter kick. Freestyle looks good. Just to recap, a few things that we need to fix. We got to pull through more. Work really, really hard at pulling all the way through the back till arms straight underwater, and then start recovering out. Don't bring the arm out bent because we're losing pull. Second thing we talked about is that extension phase. Don't reach in front of the face or shoulders. When the arm hits, it's got to get down and forward as soon as possible, not reaching with the fingertips towards the surface. That little bit of reach is just putting on the brakes and preventing her from getting to her true top speed. Her kick looks awesome. The amplitude is perfect for freestyle. Keep in mind for backstroke that you want a narrower kick than you want on freestyle so that you can roll a little bit more freely and be a little more balanced on your back. But for freestyle, that kick is perfect. Really wide amplitude. It's a very powerful kick. Turn, she's doing excellent on the fundamentals. She's executing all the steps when she needs to. She's landing on her back, pushing off on her back. I like everything I see. I would normally gripe about the angle she's coming off. That's a little deep, even for her. But for somebody with an effective dolphin kick out like she has, I think it's a good angle to come off on because she wants to get to that deep water. She wants to get where she can be most effective with the kick out. Now, with the kick out and the streamline, she has to stay balanced as she comes up. She needs to stay horizontal and let her body lift up without angling the fingertips at the surface. That's the key to winning speed underwater. And it's a very advanced skill that we keep stressing with these kids, and we'll keep stressing and working on it. But as she gets older, that's a skill that she will develop. She looks great underwater with the dolphin kicks. They're definitely one of her strongest assets. Her head position looks good. A lot of the stuff that kids get wrong at this age, she is doing right. So keep it up. Let's just focus on getting that pull full, get it all the way back so we're getting more power, and make sure we're reaching down and forward and not forward and up so that we're not limiting our top speed. Now we're going to look above water as she swims towards the wall.